Imagine this. A veteran, maybe someone you know, has struggled with CPAP for years. It just doesn't work for them. It's unbearable. And honestly, they've just given up on sleeping well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what if you could be the one to, well, essentially hand them back their life, not just with treatment, but by showing them how to navigate this system, the VA system,
Right.
which can feel, impenetrable sometimes.
That's a powerful thought.
It is, isn't it? And it's not just hypothetical. It highlights a real challenge, but also this incredible opportunity we see.
Yeah.
So today, we're doing a deep dive. We're looking at a very specific proactive approach, one developed by TDSS, aimed right at helping VA veterans with obstructive sleep apnea, OSA, get the care they need through VA community care.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is how this system, which often looks like a total maze, bureaucratic, it can be navigated
Right.
effectively and with a real sense of purpose. It's not just about knowing what steps to take, step A, step B, but really understanding why each one matters for that specific veteran.
Yeah, but why is key?
So our mission today, it isn't just about shuffling papers or understanding forms. Think of it more like an advocacy mission. We want to equip you, the listener, with the actual tools, the specific strategies to connect veterans with potentially life-changing oral appliance therapy, OAT.
Absolutely. This deep dive, it's about pulling back the curtain, showing the actual processes, the strategies providers can use to really make this happen. So, okay, let's start with the basics. What's the landscape here? What's the core problem we're actually trying to tackle with VA community care for OSA?
Well, the central issue really revolves around veterans with OSA, especially the ones, and there are many, who just can't tolerate CPAP, or maybe they tried and it didn't work.
Right. Intolerance is huge.
It is, and for these folks, finding an effective alternative treatment like OAT, it's not just, a nice to have, it's really vital for their health, their day-to-day quality of life. And honestly, many have just given up hope. They feel stuck.
And this is where it gets really interesting, I think, and maybe a bit overlooked sometimes. Many people just don't realize how transformative oral appliance therapy can actually be. It's not some, last-ditch effort. It's a critical, often very effective alternative when CPAP just isn't going to work for that veteran's life or situation.
Precisely. And it's so important to be clear on this. OAT, oral appliance therapy, is a recognized VA medical benefit.
Medical, not dental.
Exactly. This isn't routine dental work. It specifically needs a referral from a VA provider. Now, that distinction, it's paramount. But it does raise a pretty important question.
Yeah.
How do we make sure that difference is actually understood within the VA system? Especially when, let's be honest, sometimes there are knowledge gaps around the referral system itself, like HRM, the Health Share Referral Manager. Those gaps can cause real delays.
And delays mean veterans aren't getting the care they're entitled to.
Which they have a fundamental right to receive in a timely manner.
Yes. Okay, so that leads us directly to needing the right resources, the right tools. I like to think of it like this. Navigating a complex system, like the VA for OAT, you need more than just a map, right?
Definitely.
You need a compass, maybe a translation guide, sometimes even a megaphone. The documents we're about to talk about, they're not just paperwork. They're really powerful tools.
That's a great way to put it.
Tools that help us, speak the same language as the VA, guide veterans through it all, and frankly, help VA providers say yes more easily and quickly. So let's get into this toolkit. What are the absolute must-haves?
Okay, so we've got a whole suite of documents designed to work together strategically, but let's highlight a few key ones. First, there's the main guide, kind of the playbook. VA community care referrals for OSA patients. A proactive approach.
The blueprint.
Exactly, the blueprint. It lays out the common roadblocks and gives you actual strategies to get around them. Then there's the TDSS VA Veteran OSA Care Pathway. It's a flowchart.
The visual. Always helpful.
Very helpful. It basically takes this whole, sometimes confusing referral process and just simplifies it visually. Start here, then this, then that. All the way to getting OAT. It's like your compass, like you said.
And for that blueprint, that compass, to really work, you need good communication tools, right? Especially for the veteran.
Absolutely. And that's where the one-page Veteran Information and Rights OAT comes in. This is designed specifically for the veteran.
Okay.
And it's not just a flyer. It's really a tool for empowerment. Yeah, it outlines the risks of OSA, sure, but critically, it spells out their rights to community care and, importantly, how they can ask for the referrals they're entitled to, confidently.
So it gives them the words. It's actually like a script.
Pretty much, so they can advocate for themselves effectively. Then, building on that, there's the one-page request for VA sleep apnea diagnosis and referral. This one's aimed at the VA primary care doc or specialist.
Making it easy for them.
Right. It's a template that clearly shows what needs to be requested. Maybe it's sleep testing first, maybe it's OAT directly. It just streamlines their part. And then the big one, the linchpin, you might say.
The official
It's the
request.
official request. VA Form 1010172. The request for service. This isn't just a form, it's the critical piece that formally kicks off the whole authorization process for OAT.
Got it. No form, no movement.
Pretty much. The system needs that trigger. And when you look at all these documents together, they create this common structured language. It allows your practice and the VA, two different systems, to actually communicate effectively, all focused on the veteran's benefit.
That distinction you made earlier between just paperwork and these strategic tools, that feels really important.
It is.
So if these tools are so powerful, the obvious next question is, okay, how do we actually use them effectively? And this brings up something you mentioned, this difference between system-generated leads, SGLs, and community-generated leads, CGLs. Can you unpack that a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So SGLs, system-generated leads, these come directly from the VA. They initiate it,
Okay.
which means they're unpredictable. You don't know when or if they'll show up. They're totally independent of anything you as a provider do. And the bottom line, you just can't build a stable, growing practice waiting around hoping for those.
Right. It's like waiting for it to rain to fill your bucket instead of just digging your own well.
That's a perfect analogy, exactly, because CGLs, community-generated leads, that's where the power is. These leads are generated entirely by your proactive efforts,
Things you actually do.
things you actively do, which makes them controllable, predictable to a degree, and absolutely essential if you want sustainable growth in this area. Our whole focus, this whole proactive approach, is about developing and leveraging those CGLs.
So it's a mind shift.
It really is. It shifts the whole paradigm from, passively waiting and hoping referrals come your way to actively building the pathways for care yourself. It's all about strategic engagement, taking the reins.
Okay. And this proactive approach, it sounds like it has several key components or pillars that make it work. What's the first one?
The very first pillar, and maybe the most important, is empowering the veterans themselves.
Right. We touched on that with the handouts.
Exactly. This means actively coaching them. Teaching them how to talk confidently with their VA primary care physician, making sure they know which forms to bring, showing them how to directly ask for the referrals they're legally entitled to.
And what's the impact of that when the veteran is confident?
Oh, it makes a huge difference. When veterans are informed and confident, the whole process just runs smoother. For everyone. Less friction, fewer misunderstandings.
What's a common hurdle this helps overcome?
Well, often veterans simply don't realize the extent of their rights, or they might feel intimidated or just unsure how to phrase their needs within the VA system.
Yeah, that makes sense.
By giving them those specific tools, those handouts like the veteran information and rights, you're not just informing them, you're equipping them, giving them the language, the confidence to be their own best advocate. That's huge.
Okay, so empowering the veteran is pillar one. What's next?
Next is actively coordinating with the VA Community Care Office. This sounds simple, but it's crucial. Referrals often get stuck because of small, easily fixable communication gaps.
Things fall through the cracks.
Exactly. So instead of just waiting for a callback, you stay in touch with the staff there. Maybe provide them with simplified referral guides for the VA clinicians you work with. You're actively bridging those potential communication gaps.
Proactive communication.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you mentioned the form itself.
Right. Pillar 3 is submitting the request for services that VA Form 1010172. I really see this as one of the strongest proactive steps you can take.
Why is it so powerful?
Because it sends a clear, undeniable signal to the VA. It says, look, we're ready. The veteran is engaged and ready. We are formally starting this process now. It moves it from a conversation to official action.
Gotcha. And after submitting.
Follow-up. This cannot be stressed enough. Consistent, diligent follow-up is absolutely vital.
Because otherwise.
Otherwise, those communication gaps we talked about, they inevitably widen. And veterans can, and sadly often do, just fall through the cracks. Consistent follow-up keeps the momentum going. It keeps the veteran's case top of mind.
Makes sense. Any other pillars?
Yes. One more key piece is engaging with the third-party administrators, the TPAs. Companies like TriWest or Optum, depending on the region.
Yeah, okay, what's their role?
They often handle a lot of the actual scheduling and logistics once an authorization comes through. So building relationships with them, understanding our processes, helps you close that loop for your veteran patients. It ensures that an authorization actually turns into an appointment in a timely way.
Right, connecting all the dots. Okay, this is great conceptually. Let's make it really concrete. Walk us through how this proactive approach actually plays out, step by step. Step one you mentioned is community engagement. What does that look like in practice?
It's definitely not just random networking, it's strategic bridge building, like you said, right where it's needed most. And honestly, it starts right in your own office.
With your existing patients?
Every single patient, screen every patient for sleep apnea. If they happen to be a veteran who's eligible for VA care, you immediately become their guide. You can start steering them toward this VA referral process for OAT if it's appropriate.
So screening everyone is key. Where else?
VA dental patients are another really important group to connect with. They're already plugged into the VA system, right? They're often aware of their health benefits. And in my experience, they're usually quite open to talking about sleep apnea and OAT once they understand the connection.
Okay. And beyond, patients already in some kind of VA care.
Oh, absolutely. Veteran groups. Think VFW posts, American Legion, AMVETS. These organizations are incredible allies,
Why them specifically?
because they offer direct access to a concentration of veterans, many of whom might be at high risk for OSA, but haven't been screened or diagnosed yet. And there's built-in trust there. They trust their organizations.
That's a great point.
And don't forget your wider local community. Building general awareness helps too. Families, friends, they're often the first ones to notice sleep issues and encourage a veteran to seek help. And finally, maybe most importantly, for referrals.
The VA providers themselves.
Yes, forging real connections with VA primary care providers and the staff at VA health centers or clinics. They are the gatekeepers, often the veteran's very first point of contact. If they understand what you do, how OAT works, and how you can help their patients navigate the process, they become invaluable referral partners.
Building those bridges proactively. Okay, that makes total sense for step one. What's step two?
Step 2 is what we call the first appointment advantage. This is the consult itself. And here, the human element is absolutely critical.
Making that connection.
Exactly. Veterans need to feel heard, understood, cared for. They're far more likely to follow through with the whole process, which takes effort on their part too, if they trust you. So how do you build that rapport?
How do you?
Well, first, share your why. Briefly explain what motivates you to help veterans with OSA. Show genuine care, demonstrate your qualifications clearly but compassionately. This relational aspect, it becomes just as vital as the clinical assessment.
Especially if they felt dismissed elsewhere.
Precisely. Your empathy, your willingness to listen, that can make all the difference. Building that trust is foundational for everything that follows.
Okay, so rapport first. What else happens in that initial consult?
Education is huge. You need to talk about the real dangers of untreated sleep apnea, but also balance that with the positive benefits of effective treatment, like OAT. And crucially, you explain how the VA system actually works for them regarding community care, including spelling out their rights.
Empowering them with knowledge again.
Yes. And then, of course, the clinical part. You qualify them. Confirm the OSA diagnosis, do they have one? Review their history with CPAP, did they try it? For how long? And critically, confirm their CPAP intolerance. That's often the key trigger for seeking OAT through the VA.
Got it. Rapport, education, qualification. Which leads us, I assume, to step 3.
Step 3, taking precise action with the Request for Service form, the RFS. Now, how you handle this step depends slightly on whether the veteran already has that official OSA diagnosis.
Okay, scenario 1. No diagnosis yet.
If they're not diagnosed, your role is to guide them towards getting the necessary sleep testing. This means clear communication is key with the veteran, obviously, but also helping facilitate communication between them and their VA PCP and the VA sleep clinic.
So you're helping coordinate.
You're helping coordinate, and crucially, you're training the veteran to communicate proactively with their VA providers. Give them the right questions to ask, maybe help them understand the forms they need.
Equipping them again. Okay, scenario 2. They do have the diagnosis.
Right. If they're already diagnosed and CPAP intolerant, that's when you move forward to submit that critical request for service, the RFS form, specifically for oral appliance therapy.
And communication is still key here.
Absolutely. Maintain open lines with the veteran's VA PCP. Let them know you're submitting the RFS. But here's where the advocacy piece really comes into play, the real game changer.
Okay.
You empower and train the veteran to be their own best advocate in this specific step. Coach them to proactively follow up on their referral status, and this is critical. Teach them to specifically request and insist on returning to your practice for the OAT treatment once it's approved.
Why is that specific request so important?
Because that direct advocacy from the veteran often makes the system move faster and ensures they get routed back to you, the provider they've already built trust with. It cuts through potential bureaucratic shuffling. So what does this all mean? It means the veteran isn't just a passive recipient, they're actively driving the process with your guidance.
That's powerful. And you mentioned using a specific handout here, too.
Yes, absolutely. When you submit that RFS, make sure you use that one-page request for VA sleep apnea diagnosis and referral handout effectively.
How?
Give a copy directly to the veteran. Why? It helps them understand exactly what's being requested for them, plus it gives them a physical tool they can use when they follow up with their VA providers. Here's the request my community provider submitted.
Okay, and also send it to.
Simultaneously, send a copy directly to the VA PCP. This does a few things. It reinforces your official RFS submission, it keeps their primary medical team fully in the loop, and it clearly signals you're working correctly within the VA community care framework.
So everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. It eliminates confusion, ensures alignment, and makes the next steps clearer for everyone involved. Proactive sharing.
Okay, this process seems really well thought out. Now, looking at the bigger picture, how do we ensure success and really maximize the impact here? Are there some hard and fast rules?
There are a few non-negotiables. First, and this is absolutely critical for compliance and billing, do not begin any OAT treatment until you have received the official VA authorization.
No jumping the gun.
No jumping the gun, no exceptions. Wait for that official green light.
Okay, what else?
While you're navigating this process, especially during the waiting period for authorization, document everything meticulously.
Every call, every form?
Every call made, every form sent, every handout given to the veteran or the PCP. Keep records. This paper trail isn't just CYA. It protects the process and genuinely helps keep things moving forward because you have clear evidence of every step taken.
Good practice anyway.
Absolutely. And just as important, keep educating the veteran. Continuously reinforce how to navigate the system, remind them of their rights, what the next steps are. Repetition helps.
Now, what about systemic issues? If you keep hitting the same roadblock?
Don't just get frustrated. Proactively provide feedback to the VA. If you see consistent bottlenecks in the referral process, inform the community care office or relevant contacts. Frame it constructively. This isn't just complaining, it's collaborating to find solutions that help all veterans.
That makes sense. Working with the system to improve it.
Exactly. And ultimately, when you put all these pieces together, the proactive outreach, empowering the veteran, using the tool strategically, meticulous follow-up, collaboration, it really demonstrates how this dedicated individual effort, it can lead to real systemic improvements, and it creates these mutually beneficial outcomes.
A win-win-win, like you said.
Precisely. Veterans get the timely, life-changing care they need and deserve. That's number one. The VA system actually experiences reduced stress because veterans are getting effective care in the community. And yes, for dental seat medicine practices, it leads to meaningful, sustainable growth built on providing essential care.
And the bottom line for the veteran is just better health.
It's simple, isn't it? But incredibly powerful. More veterans breathing easier at night, sleeping better, and as a result, living healthier, fuller lives during the day. That's the ultimate goal.
It really is. This deep dive, it's really shown how having the right tools, this specific toolkit we discussed, combined with a truly proactive mindset, it can genuinely transform how you navigate a complex, sometimes frustrating system, turn it into something that really delivers for people. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Where else in your life, or maybe in your work, could understanding the toolkit for that system, whatever it is, and really championing an advocacy mission, where could that unlock dramatically better outcomes?
It's a great question to ponder.
Yeah. What specific system are you, listening right now, trying to navigate? Where could a little more informed action, a bit more persistent advocacy, maybe transform your results? It really boils down to applying these core principles, doesn't it? Strategic engagement, empowerment, applying those to pretty much any challenge you face.